This podcast is sponsored by BB Mates, a family-run personalised gift company. From sports bottles to team merchandise, BB Mates has you covered. They will happily work with you to create unique designs for your perfect gift, with a wide range of products, all able to be personalised with names, quotes, pictures and much more. Head over to bbmates.com. That's www.bebemates.com and use the code COIS so they know that we sent you. Oh, and of course, come on you Spurs.
Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. We are 2 episodes into the new season. I'm done, all the positivity's gone, I'm ready to jump. But joining me to try and talk me off the ledge, it's Stefan!
No, sorry, I already jumped.
Oh!
Yeah. No, how you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, fine, yeah, not too bad. Do you ever hear about the man who jumped from the Empire State Building on the way down? He was right so far, and then he wasn't. So, we have got a lot to talk about. As always, in the mad world of Tottenham Hotspur, it's always kind of crazy. Very rarely, I mean, this is episode 240 of this show. Of that, I'd estimate I've done 230 plus. It's been me the vast majority of the time. A lot with Matt, a lot with yourself. Polynesian Dan, lovely Laura have all stepped in at different times. We've had different guests and guest hosts. Yep. But one of the things that I've thought about, because when I wrote down episode 240, I was like, oh wow, that's a lot. And I was thinking about it, I cannot think of any week really, even when we've done shows like, you know, sort of in the transfer windows or summer breaks or whatever, where it's a boring week.
Yeah, no, we don't seem to really. We don't really seem to have weeks where nothing at all happens.
No.
Like there's always a rumour here or a dodgy Snapchat there or there's always something going on.
A dodgy Snapchat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always something. I was looking up 240 was Bob McDonald, just throwing that out there on the legacy numbers. Just
right, okay.
You kept saying 240 and I was like, I wonder who that is. Yeah, 240. Bob McDonald.
Oh, yeah, well, that well-known Bob. So you reckon we should stop naming the show's numbers and start naming them after whoever the legacy number is?
Oh, wow. I mean, that takes us up to, what, 885, I think it is now?
But that's quite niche, though. How many Spurs fans do you reckon would get that around the world? Like, here is episode Bob McDonald.
Yeah, next week's episode is Alex Hunter. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It was just that you kept saying it, and my brain went to legacy numbers, so I thought I just know.
Hey, that just means that their marketing's working, man.
Isn't it?
You're fully invested in the latest rip-off crap they've come up with. I mean,
you know what, that's my biggest problem. My biggest problem is the fact of how fully invested I am in Tottenham. That is my problem.
Yeah.
Like, let's open the therapy session right here. My problem is when I was 5, I was handed down a football kit.
Yeah.
It was a Tottenham away kit. And from that moment on...
You've tried to get away from them. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I've even moved up north to get away from London, and I'm still following them. You know,
London, you got to say it properly. Yeah. So, we have got a game to talk about, so let's kick off there. Then we'll head over to fan questions and topics. And then we got like a variety of other things to talk about before we go ahead and chat about the next game versus Everton. So, Leicester won, Tottenham won, opening day of the season. Now, this is an interesting thing for me because I think perception and I think kind of influence of what we saw can greatly dictate how you feel about the result.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is Leicester City, I know they've just been promoted, but Leicester City away, a newly promoted side away in their first game of the season, is not an easy fixture no matter who it is. It is not, and I think everyone knows that in reality.
Yeah, I know they're classified as one of the new boys up, but you look at the squad they've got, the experience, everything else they've got. Leicester are not a typical newly promoted team.
Okay, so I disagree with that. I don't think their squad's that good. I don't think their side's that good. But allowing me to finish, you interruptee of interrupters.
There was a gap. I thought you paused. Okay.
Yeah, to breathe. Yeah, so basically, Leicester, any newly promoted side, regardless of their team sheet, etc., at their own stadium is going to be difficult the first week up because, of course, that's going to be first game back or first game in the Prem. Is going to be an atmosphere. It's going to be good. It was an evening kickoff. That always, I mean, I've discussed this on the show. Going away on an evening kickoff, there's always something to it. Like Selhurst Park is like the worst place to ever go for an evening kickoff, and it's a proper football ground, you know. So there were a lot of factors to that. So if before the game someone had said to me, "Hey, you're going to get a draw first game out away at Leicester," I'll probably look at that and go, "Obviously, I want to win every single game," but I'd be like, "Okay, that's not bad." I think a lot of people go in there this season a struggle. I think a lot of people, you know, because of the atmosphere and everything that's created there. Now, the reason why, so before the game, someone says that to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd probably take that opening day of the season. We're rusty. They're going to be like going crazy, you know, over the top. I think the thing that then kills that for me, or the thing that then makes me feel incredibly disappointed in the result, is that we completely nullified that. We went there. We completely nullified the initial surge. The crowd were silent. We had domination to the point that it looked like a defend versus attack training match.
Like, I've got the stats up. The actual, the stats wise, that is a complete domination of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And
71% possession. We did 400 more passes, better pass accuracy, 13 corners to 2. It is as close to an absolute domination as possible.
Yeah. Now, we completely dominated the game. We created chances which we didn't take. Now, as a Tottenham fan, we knew what was coming. We've seen this story, this TV show, this movie so many times that it's boring, to be honest with you. And I think there's an element as well, and I think this is where online football fandom is all about overreaction. It really is, and it's when I first started getting into football and stuff like that, late 80s, early 90s. I was young, so I wasn't exposed to this. But what I imagine is the online football fandom overreacting is that one pissed idiot you'd find in the pub afterwards overreacting that everyone just kind of ignored. You know, the one who could have made it if it weren't for a dodgy knee at a trial. You know, that guy.
That guy.
And he's an expert. But the thing that sort of drives me insane with it is because I was pissed off. I was really annoyed. And the reason I was really annoyed is you dominate a game like that, you miss all those chances. That's very much us last season. That is very much when we went stale. It was just the problem that the side had. And then you spend 60 odd million on a new striker. You spend in different areas of the team. You are in a summer transfer window as a club. You are meant to improve your first 11. That is the goal of every single window. A winter window, I always say, is a little bit weird because more often than not, it's like, oh shit, so and so's out for the rest of the season. We need cover. You know, it's not necessarily about. Obviously, if an opportunity is there, you take it. But not many teams want to lose a very good player in the winter window.
All the prices are inflated. Yeah, the January window's awesome.
Yeah, but the summer window, your goal has to be every summer improve your first 11.
Yeah.
So we looked at that. Solanke really scored 19 league goals last season. He should improve our first 11. But we as a side, I mean, you got the stats there. Does it say how many shots we had, how many on target?
Yeah, 15 shots, 7 on target.
And does it say how many Leicester had?
7 shots, 3 on target.
Yeah. There was a thing that Jose Mourinho said, and obviously I'm not a fan of his, but they can keep the ball, we'll take the points. Possession for possession's sake means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Having 70-odd% of the ball, 15 shots, 7 on target, and scoring once means you are not going to take the points. Tottenham don't win games 1-0. When you play the way Ange plays, we as a fan base need to understand that we will concede goals because of the line we hold, because of the way we go forward, which means we have to score more. Now, games can be put to bed. So for example, if at half time we'd taken our chances, that's 3 or 4-0 at half time. And they were good chances. They were.
But Solanke's weird, I'm going to stoopy dive header instead of volleyable. That was a fantastic chance. That was the ball across.
Yeah.
There was a couple of other chances in the first half where you're like, that's got to be a goal. How have we skied that?
It is like question marks. And of course, the longer that goes, I think the biggest problem we've got is we did this so much last season. The longer this goes, it's almost in our own players' heads now as well.
Yeah, Alan Shearer's favourite kind of, you're going to regret not taking those chances. It's
well, they're right.
Yeah, every time.
Well, they're right. And I think every club feels that way as well. But with us, we got such a kind of rich history of it. You got to kind of focus on Ange's era. We as Spurs fans know this is going back, but focusing on Ange and focusing on the way this team plays, we know we will give an opportunity to any side in the Premier League. Now, you just said 7 shots, 3 on target for them.
Yeah.
Against better opposition, who are playing more, we probably would have conceded more in that game. We didn't look at all at any point, for me anyway, when Leicester actually attacked like we were going to defend well. Like if we stopped them in their third, in the middle of the park, we killed them, we nullified them a lot. But when they actually got into our defence, more often than not, there was space available for them.
It looked very much like a defence that hadn't had a pre-season together. Now, we know that's because of the Copa America, the Euros and all that.
That is literally true.
Yeah, however, they had an entire season last season together.
No.
You'd think at the same time they'd remember how to play football together.
It's a difficult thing to really have a go at them on that. I do get what you're saying. Like, you are going to have an almost muscle memory understanding of each other, but at the same time, it's like anything. You go away, you come back, you're not as sharp as you were. Like in any role, anyone who's here is listening who does a job. You go on like a 2-3 week holiday from that job. Your first day back, or like your first proper day back, or whatever, you're going to be a bit like, oh, okay. What does Steve do then? Steve, you're the guy who does copies, right? Yeah, right, Steve. What do you do again? Yeah. It's like brain fog.
These guys had the second half against Bayern Munich, and that's pretty much it. Like Van de Ven and Romero, they had the second half.
Yeah, they did it, but that didn't have Udogie and it didn't have Porro. So as a back 4 or 5 with the keeper, they've not had that the whole of pre-season. So I was actually surprised to see that team line up, to be honest with you, purely because they hadn't played that much together. Our lack of central, Dragusin's had a longer pre-season, so I was a little bit surprised at that. But at the same time, we dominated so hard in the first half. It was kind of like, okay, well, this makes sense. You want to get them back into that rhythm, etc. And we are dominating midfield. We are dominating, pressing so well pressing them so well when they got the ball at the back. Therefore, to a certain extent, we're taking a lot of pressure off them. But it is like there's a few things that sort of go through, like players wise. There's a hell of a lot of hatred online And I'm going to call it hatred because the stuff that's being said is vile, and I really it feels so weird that I'm seeing this from Tottenham fans, and it's directed towards club captain Sonny. And it is like, I always work on this theory that you can be critical of performance. You can sort of say, oh, I think he's out of... I think there's lots of things you can say which are valid, or like, oh, he just doesn't look like he's quite clicking in the system yet. I wonder, there's lots of ways you can look at it.
Yep.
I think to be to the level of abusive that some Spurs fans are being, it makes me wonder if they even see the irony in them being mad at players not being loyal to them anymore. Oh, the modern gang, no one's loyal.
Yeah.
So are you fucking kidding me? Like, just look at the stuff that you and your fellow fans are writing about them. And then you'll score in the next game, and those same people will be like, "Oh, I knew he'd come good. See, he just had to do this."
We know. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you won't back down on being a dickhead about him. And I just kind of look at, I can't see it like myself. Like I felt that he didn't have a very good game against Leicester. I felt that we weren't able to get him in the game, and I don't think he was able to get himself in the game. That can happen.
Yeah.
But he pressed like an absolute animal the entire time into the final third for us.
Yep.
And him and Solanke, you can see why Ange wanted him for that work rate he put in, and Johnson as well. I mean, Johnson's tracking back in that game was phenomenal. There was a weird moment in the game. Me and you were messaging each other.
Yes.
Brennan Johnson did this incredible track back, a great challenge, won the ball, and as he turned with the ball, there was all this space in front of him.
And you're like, here we go, afterburners on,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah. And he just...
Doesn't.
No, he looked, but not even like running at normal pace. It was like he was running in quicksand. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, has this kid now got such a fear of another hamstring injury, he's never going to sprint again?
It's like, it's almost like, is it the old the Mandela effect they call it, didn't they?
Yeah.
In my brain, I am absolutely convinced that Brennan Johnson would be one of the quickest players in our squad.
Yeah.
Like, the guy is absolutely rapid, and he can sprint with the ball like a ridiculous speed.
Just never see it.
And I'm sure I've seen him do it. It was for Nottingham Forest, but I know I've seen him do it. And then as each game goes past for Tottenham, I'm kind of going, I'm sure I saw it. Like, I've gone from I know I've seen him at top speed to now going, I'm sure I've seen him run sprint fast.
Me and you got into quite a lot of debates over this particular player when we signed him, because you'd seen something in him that I hadn't. Now you've watched him for a season and a bit, season at Spurs. Yeah. I've seen, all I'm seeing is the same player I saw at Nottingham Forest, which is, that was good. Oh, that was bang average. Now, there's undoubtedly talent there, but there's like this weird thing, like, so I said this to you, like, I remember when Gareth Bale suddenly backed his pace. And he didn't do anything amazing. What he literally did was kicked it past the defender and sprinted past them. And the defender then had a choice to make. I either take him out and get booked, or I'm going to get burned. So because Gareth Bale started doing that, defences against us started hanging back. Because they're like, I can't have him do that to me. I've got to sit deeper.
I can't leave more than 10 yards behind me, otherwise I'm screwed.
And then Bale developed his game then to, okay, I'll come into that space and hit a screamer from 30-odd yards. And then he's, everyone knows that all of a sudden Bale then became like the most proficient 30, 40-yard shooter in the league. It was insane.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, what I'm looking at with Johnson, I was like, you surely got to back yourself here. There's all that space there. The defender's coming up towards you. Just kick it past him. Make him take you out or get round him.
Yeah,
like go for it. He just stood there and then got tackled.
Yeah, we had the pace next to it. If he had just burst it down the line and got to the byline, with people like Sonny and Solanke and stuff there, even Papasai, he's got the pace. He would have been able to get himself into the box.
Yeah, yeah.
So if he had just knocked it down to the byline and then whipped a ball in, we would have had people there in the box.
We would,
and he took like a few joggy paces forward, looked around the pitch, and then we lost the ball. And I'm there like,
It was incredibly
what just
confusing.
happened?
It was.
Why did he do that? Why didn't he run?
It was bizarre. Now, just going back to Sonny a second then. So there was a debate that we had behind closed doors a while back where Polynesian Dan felt that Sonny should have been sold this summer. His thoughts on this is that due to age and just general decline in Ange's sort of system, he felt that this summer would be where you'd get the maximum fee for Sonny. Therefore, we should sell him, replace him this summer. I said that was stupid because I'm like that, and I'm a big fan of Sonny, and I
am a massive Son fan. Yeah,
and I don't think he's dropped off. Now, you, Polynesian Dan, were also having a discussion the other day following the Leicester game, and you also have a mind that you think that maybe it's time for him to go, or where were you on that? Because I kind of didn't really follow what you were saying, and you're a bit of a flip-flop.
I'm a bit of a flip-flop. No, not with Sonny. I am very much a flip with Sonny, not a flop. All I put in our little group chat was, if we took all emotion and attachment out of it, would we have sold Son this summer or not?
No.
So if it wasn't Son, if it was any other player with his stats and his ability that wasn't the attachment that we have to Son, should we have sold him this summer? And then my follow-up to that was, if we had have sold him this summer, we would have got a decent fee for a player of that caliber.
Yeah.
And of that reputation. Looking at I don't think he would ever go to the Saudi leagues, but looking at the Saudi leagues and how much they're paying for players, it would have been a damn good fee. Sorry. And I was like, if we had have done it, who would we have got in? And not only that, but how would we have replaced Son's attitude and atmosphere and his leadership and basically his ambassador of the club?
Yeah.
Like, if you want someone to go around and be like Mr. Tottenham Hotspur, you've only got to look at Son. Like, he goes away to the national team and wears his Tottenham Hotspur shin pads.
Yeah, I think
he's ultimate. And you look at his reaction, how he's been with Archie Gray since he signed. Look at how he's been with Sarr. Look at how he's been. I've seen videos of him with lots of new signings, and he's the first one there giving him a hug, welcome to the club. I'm going to look after you.
I think I have to step in here for Polynesian Dan, which is to say, I support a football team, not a nursery. I don't care how much he puts his arm around people. I want a first 11 that wins games. Everything you just said then is right. Everything you just said then is accurate, but very little of what you said is about football.
And that's why I put the question. If you were to take the compassion, the empathy and all of that away from it, which is kind of that stuff behind the scene.
He's still arguably our top goal scorer. You take Harry Kane, he is our top goal scorer for a decade.
Yep.
A lot of people forget what life was before Harry Kane, and I think perhaps that's also playing into this.
It was Soldado and Adebayor.
Can you name the last striker for Tottenham to score 20 league goals before Harry Kane?
In a season?
Yeah.
See, I want to say the likes of Robbie Keane and Defoe, but I don't think they ever quite got those sort of numbers.
I think we had one season where Keane did get 20, but I don't think it was league goals. I think
no,
it was 20.
Berbatov was
it was Berbatov got 21 in league goals. He got 30 odd overall. But him and Keane that one season did amazing, and then we had to sell him because he marched his ass to Manchester.
Yes, he literally got his own train up there and kind of waved at the club from Manchester.
Yeah. So life before Kane was constantly spending money on strikers and constantly trying to get one that would get us those 20 goals a season.
Yeah.
And we're kind of now life after Kane, and we're looking at that again. But the way Ange sets the team up, it's about the system, and it's about all the team contributing goals, not just via the one.
Yeah, he'd rather have 5 players score 10 goals each than one player that scores 50. Yeah.
And because of that, which I'm fine with. What I'm sort of driving at with this is that the whole criticism of Sonny and everything like that, players can come in and out of form, and we see that. He didn't have a very good game at Leicester. Now, if his next 3 games or whatever are also not very good, then I will hold my hands up and I will say, okay, there is concern then. For me, okay, there is a genuine concern then that perhaps he has now gone to the point that he isn't going to compete in the Premier League. I will hold my hands up and I will share that concern. After one game where the whole side looks rusty, like Romero looked really rusty, Van de Ven looked very rusty. That guy was a Rolls Royce from minute 1 last season. He looked really sort of a bit like
VW Polo more today.
Well, he looked like he was kind of looking around a few times, like, oh yeah, I remember you. It was just kind of strange. Udogie tired hard. Like he started that game like, oh, Udogie's back, and by the end it was like, where is he? Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, he tired hard. Pedro Porro, excellent, but got hurt. So. There's a lot there that was just kind of like, oh, okay, but it's the first game. I really think you got to kind of caveat every opinion you have with, okay, that was game 1. Let's now move into game 2, and then if game 2 shows the same pattern, shows the same players struggling, then you got to look at it and go, okay, that's potentially a problem then. So for me, the Sonny stuff I thought was crap. I thought Polynesian Dan, it's a valid opinion, but I just one I don't agree with. I think
he wants to sell Kulusevski as well. Like he just wants to sell people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this, and Dan will argue with me, but I'm going to say this. I genuinely feel like Daniel Levy has been such a massive influence on Dan as a Spurs fan. I think Daniel Levy and Enoch have been in charge for over 20 years. That's Dan's life as a Spurs fan. And I think he is so accustomed to, that player might be getting a bit old, therefore we cash in on him now. That's Enoch. That's Daniel Levy. That's not ambition. That's not trying to win football. That's okay, he's approaching 30. Okay, well, we need to sell him now then. This is the maximum. This is the best time we're going to get a good price for him. That's influence of those owners for 20 odd years, and Dan probably will argue with me about that, and that's fine. But his entire football lifetime as a Spurs fan has been under Enoch, and therefore that is the only influence. And I can tell you, there's a lot of, like me. I mean, the vast majority of my fandom's been under Enoch, but also I look at football as beyond just the Premier League era and all these other things where it wasn't about that. Like a player going out of contract or whatever, like you got to prioritise winning the football. Like I genuinely argued that if Harry Kane was going to leave on a free, we still got one more season out of him where we could have achieved something. I genuinely argued that. We came through the academy, etc. But no, and I do understand the club's position. No, because we can get best part of 100 million for him now or nothing next summer. Well, yeah, that's a financial decision. I understand it. But that is a purely financial decision. There's no way on earth Ange Postecoglou says, I'd rather have a team without Harry Kane, thank you. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because you add... No, in the system and the way we play now, we all know, as fans, Kane scores a hatful.
Yeah.
We know that. Those chances that Solanke missed, you'd back Kane to score at least one of them. And that's not a dig at Solanke, by the way. It's just we've watched it for 10 years, so we would back him to do that. So now he is gone. We are moving on, and that's fine. And we will adapt, and we will. I'm confident Solanke will get goals for us. But it's just that was a financial decision, and I think Dan and I think a number of fans are so ingrained into that Enoch thing of everything's a financial decision, not necessarily a footballing one. So when he looks at Son, he thinks about cashing out. I look at Son and think he's still got a lot to contribute to us as a football side. But I could be wrong.
I'm hopeful. I am hopeful we're going to see against Everton the kind of Son that we know.
Yeah, now we've talked about Solanke. Maddison, I felt, had a really good game, and yet apparently online he was awful. I don't see that at all. He got an assist. Could have had 3 assists if the finishing was
yeah.
better. He controlled the tempo, dictated play, switched play a number of times brilliantly. He tired and was substituted. And
I think that's the problem. I think the people online that are watching it have kind of watched his last 5 minutes where he did quite obviously tire those last 5 minutes, and they've kind of ignored the time before that. I know I was guilty of it straight after the match when I'm kind of living in that frustration of 2 points lost, not 1 point gained.
Yeah.
I was in that frustration of, he didn't play well. I then kind of went away, and the next morning I was like, actually, do you know what? Yeah, the back four haven't played together pre-season. Maddison did boss the first half. Maddison was almost as good as I've seen him.
Yep.
He was getting on the ball. He was spraying it around. He was looking at what he can do. Straight after the game, I was very much like, here we go again. Right, Maddison's still missing. And it was because those last 5 minutes he wasn't great, but the time before that he was.
We go back to you. You encapsulate the worst of football fandom at times. You really do.
I know. I think that's why you got me on the podcast, just to prove examples.
Just to point at you all the time. Look at you. Look what you did.
Don't be this guy.
Yeah. The other thing. So there was another thing that was kind of interesting. The Leicester goal. A lot of people blaming everyone. Romero's copping for that a lot. Romero lost his man. You can see that. Now, this is one of these things, right? Last season, we conceded a lot of goal stuff. Under Ange's system, we are going to concede because of the space we're going to leave, okay?
Yep.
Romero, in that moment, lost his man, and they scored.
Yep.
It doesn't make him the world's worst defender. Like, Lionel Messi described him as the best defender in the world. I watch him play on a very regular basis. Like, I watch every Tottenham game. Home, away, I watch it all. And I watch that guy. He is a fantastic defender. But guess what? No one's perfect.
No.
He made an error, as you just said. He's not at a pre-season. He's not up to speed yet. He is not running full capacity. He went away and won his back-to-back Copa America, named defender of the tournament again, and he's come back to England and he's thrown in. He's sort of just getting his feet again after having a very short holiday. He's probably
go play against them. Off you go.
Yeah.
Can you go mark Jamie Vardy, who's going to be one of the most quickest, most horrible strikers going? Can you go mark him after your very short holiday? Not really pre-season.
I hate the bloke. I've never liked him at all, ever, and I knew he'd score because I hate him.
100%. Yeah. See, I like Jamie Vardy, but that's another story.
Why do you like him? Like, I can't understand that.
There's something about him. I like it. But going back to you saying about the goal, I put in our group chat that night. I think I did it pretty soon after the goal, but I definitely said it that night. The thing that annoyed me the most about that goal. So we watched it. You watch it. Romero runs past, or he kind of goes past Vardy.
Yeah.
There are at least 3 players there that should have shouted, like, Vardy, or get back, or something to him. Maybe, let's just say, maybe he genuinely hasn't seen Vardy there. He's going forward to block the space of a cross.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It looks like he hasn't seen Vardy. He's getting forward to kind of block that area to try and stop any crosses. Fine. But there are 3 people there that can see Vardy, and not one person has communicated and shouted, there's a player there.
I mean,
that's the bit that's frustrated me.
You're
the fact that
far more of a footballer than me, but I would say all that happened in the space of 3 seconds.
It's still enough to shout, like, that's kind of what I want to see from a goalkeeper, The goalkeeper should be commanding his box.
Should he not be focused on the ball in that situation? The guy was going to shoot.
Potentially, but then even so, you look back, you got Pedro Porro marking not really anyone, just coming through. He can see, like, the fact that nobody communicates, that's the bit that frustrates me.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if that's just, I've managed at Sunday League. I've never managed at a high level. I don't ever claim to be a world-class manager or anything like that. I've only ever really managed kind of like the Sunday League stuff.
No, but also in fairness, you don't have those players mic'd up.
No.
You have no idea what was shouted or what wasn't, or what was communicated or what wasn't. And you're looking at it trying to find a reason or a rationale how it happened. I imagine the Tottenham analysts are looking at it going, what the fuck, guys? You know, we run this drill.
They're doing
so
the same
times.
thing, right?
Yeah.
How did he get away from you?
Yeah, and I fully imagine they're all the defenders themselves are looking at it going, yeah, that was bad. Because it was a mistake. And this is the thing, is like, you look at some of the best defensive sides I've ever seen. Like, I'm like Virgil van Dijk for a season at Liverpool. I heard every single week he's the best defender ever. This guy's the best defender. Oh my God. Anyone ever seen a defender like this? No, not me. Oh, what a defender. And then I watched Harry Kane just walk past him in a game.
Yep.
Like he wasn't there.
It was beautiful.
And not one person afterward, not one Liverpool fan were calling for him to be axed, sold, piece of shit. Oh, no. They call him world class. No, because they know 99% of the time he's a bloody good player. But on that day, Kane got the better of him. I know Romero is one of the best defenders in world football. I know Real Madrid came in for him this summer and we told him to F off. Probably next summer, we're going to lose him to Real Madrid.
It's possible.
No, not possible. I genuinely think we've got this season with him and he's off. Now, when you got that level of player, why is it that our fans just turn on him on a dime? Why is it that he's made an error there, definitely, but why is it that people have to turn him? Why can cutie, bloody hell? That's a reaction. That's perfectly justified. Oh, he's fucked up there. That's a perfectly just. Oh, he's shit. I saw people tweeting like, oh, world class, whatever. I'm like, who the hell are you to judge from your armchair? You've got probably, for me, the greatest footballer of all time saying that he's world class. You've got every defensive punt, every person around the world looking at him going, oh, he's a fantastic defender. But, you know, Steve sat in his armchair with a beer in his hand, goes, oh, world class, whatever, because he's made an error in a game. Like no one ever makes an error ever. It pisses me off. Anyway.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The last thing I just want to say from the game is Ange Postecoglou's reaction to bringing on Richarlison to miss that chance.
Oh, that is going to be seen everywhere for years.
Oh, bloody right. I've got that saved in my phone now as a meme called "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend," and that is going to get used this entire season.
If someone used an AI thing of draw what it's like to be a Tottenham fan, there is the picture.
We go. Yeah,
right
please show me how it feels to be a Spurs fan. There we go. I mean, there is something there. I do.
Hands on his knees, like, oh, fuck.
I do just want to say this, okay? Because I do think it's something that needs saying. Not because I'm digging people out, but just because I do think it's something where we, as a fan base, look at this, and this is where there's a real element of anger and frustration. We had a £65 million, whatever, striker from the start of that game. Missed loads of chances, didn't score. We brought a £60 million striker off the bench who got the chance to win the game, and he missed it. There is something fundamentally going wrong here, that we are spending the money that you need to spend.
Yeah.
But we are missing these chances constantly. Almost to the point. Almost to the point that someone needs to go, right, clearly our finishing coach is doing a shit job. I know that sounds so simplistic.
Right, yeah.
Like, at what point does someone go, clearly whoever's doing the finishing drills is fucking up? Because you've got that level of talent and that level of money that's been invested in these strikers, and they can't hit a freaking barn door. Like, Richie coming off the bench and that opportunity, that is everything. That is a footballer's dream. I come off the bench, I win the frigging game.
Glance ahead, gently into the ball.
My first touch, and I win the game for my team. That is like, and that's me looking back at the bench going, this is why you start me, motherfucker. You know, and that's every striker's dream. And he's come on and boom, and you're looking at it and you're like, Jesus, I remember Gary Doherty doing that, or for me anyway, because I'm old. And it's like, and when he did that, you know, he cost us all of 50p and a packet of crisps. You kind of go, ha, that's funny. Gary
Yeah.
Doherty. He was listed as a defender or a striker. You
He
just
was
never.
centre back forward, yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
just what was that world we lived in then?
I remember him. He was great, yeah. Centre back or forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just work that one out. Right, now we've kind of talked about the game a lot, so let's hand over to probably we got some questions and stuff from people who listen. Hopefully not all about the game, because otherwise we probably just answered them all.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
Now, listen, Brad. You are now co-host on this podcast. Yes, you. You are now a co-host on this podcast. And what that means is, if there's something you want to talk about, just let me know. We'll talk about it. When I put a post up on Facebook asking for any comments, not only did you ask something, you then answered yourself like a friggin' lunatic.
I was having a bit of a midlife crisis that day, quite clearly.
You had a proper meltdown, like.
I really was. I asked the question and then answered the question.
Yeah, and like people kind of avoided it afterwards. Like they went to the post, saw, and like, ooh, clearly that guy's mental. I'm not commenting anything.
So yeah, I was having a meltdown.
Oliver Skipper's left the club. He has joined Leicester City, and amusing to me, because anyone who listens to the show knows that I have a real affection for Skip, because he's a player I follow for. I watched him when he made his debut at 15 for the under 18s, and there is an element of. I said it a load of times. I couldn't be fair and balanced when it came to Skip. I was always going to be one-eyed. I was always going to be kind of, nope, he's amazing. Shut up. To anything, because I watched him come through and he was incredible the whole way through the academy system. I still think he's a very, very good Premier League level player and could possibly move beyond it. And I think people are going to see it when he plays week in, week out. I always said that if we'd signed him from Spain and his name was Aldaro Scipario, people would be going, oh my God, he's like so good. But no, he's a local lad, lived his dream, played for the club, got slagged off by every moron online constantly, not good enough, he's never going to make it, he's not good enough. And now he's gone to Leicester. Now, I could be wrong. You could see him in the Championship in the next few years, and that's his level. Personally, I think you're going to see him if he plays week in, week out in that system for Leicester alongside Harry Winks, hilariously. Pochettino's plan coming to fruition finally, but at Leicester of all clubs. I think you will see why he was rated so highly. And depending on who gets the England job, I think you wouldn't be surprised to see him in the England team. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I am gutted he left. I was cheered up greatly by the fact that when I checked the Spurs News email, I actually had people genuinely checking if I was okay. So to answer that, like today, I'm fine. I wasn't okay on the day. I was very, I was kind of, I understood it. Like for him, he desperately needs to be playing week in, week out, or at least challenging to be playing week in, week out. Whereas under Ange, it just wasn't going to happen. He worked really hard last season to show that he can be versatile. Like, okay, play me as an inverted fullback then, or play me here, play me there. And by the end of the season, he was fully fit and not even making the bench. So the writing was on the wall. This summer, he had a few options, and you know he's gone with this one, which is fine. From a club management point of view, and this is where my ultimate kind of frustration came in now. So we all know in the modern game, coaches come and go. We know that, and we've kind of established that.
Yep.
What Tottenham have done as well, which is mind-blowing really, is they have at different times gone down this director of football route, and they've changed them almost as regularly as we have the head coach.
Yep.
The idea of a director of football, just to paint this in real simple terms, and I know there's a lot more to it, okay, so this is real simple, is you as a club identify this is how we want to play. This is how we want to be as a team. This is our identity, if you like. I am the director of football. I am in charge of making sure this all, and I'm also in charge of appointing a head coach that plays the Tottenham way.
Yes.
Now, that went out the
Direction of
window.
football is directing the football side of it, yeah.
Yeah, no, that went out the window. Jose came in, that wasn't the Tottenham way. The other bloke came in, who I'm not going to mention because I can't remember if I've got his jingle here. Hang on. We don't talk about no. Yeah, I did.
Yep.
And Conte, that's not the Tottenham way. It was all just an absolute shower. Now, Ange, that is the Tottenham way that most of us identify with. To dare is to do, go for it. But we're also still a little bit jaded and everything. But there's this element of the club, by doing this, have actually probably screwed up a generation of our academy. What do I mean by that is, when you have a club identity, you have a way of playing, which means you can swap in and out your coach. But whenever you always recruit people who come in, they're going to put their little twist on it, but this is how we play. This is the Tottenham way. And the coaches come in, this is the Tottenham way, and they put their little spin on it or their little tweak, but this is the Tottenham way. And all the academy plays the Tottenham way. They come through playing that way, and they come into the system. When we had Pochettino in charge for a good number of years, that obviously was happening. We had an academy system there that he came in, took the crop of academy players that were there, threw them in, sank or swim. All of them were good Premier League players. Obviously, Kane was world class. Then you had the players coming through behind that were all used to playing his way. Now, he made some errors himself, which he's openly talked about since, with players like KWP, Walker Peters, and
should have sent out a loan, given them the chance.
Carter Vickers, who have then thrived elsewhere. I saw KWP was in the championship team of the season last season. I saw that Carter Vickers up in Scotland is arguably the best defender in the league out there. I know we're talking levels, and I get that, but what I mean is they've gone on and are having good professional careers. Josh Onoma, unfortunately, hasn't followed that same track as well, but is still out there playing professional football. So it is
Marcus Edwards ripping it up in Portugal.
Yeah, there you go. That's another one, mini Messi, that got cocked up as well. So I'm not pointing to that era and saying Pot got everything right because he didn't. But what I mean is, when you had that continuity and that style, it meant the academy was bringing through those players to play in that system, in that style of football. So when Jose came in, the other one came in, when Conte came in, all that crop of players were like, what? Counter-attack what? Sit on our own box and do what? And so there's a whole crop of players there that just kind of were all over the place and never really went forward. Oliver Skipp made his debut, or was involved, under Pochettino. That's how long ago he was available to the side. Every manager who came in afterwards looked at him and went, he is a great player. Jose Mourinho said he's the future Tottenham captain. Conte said he's future Tottenham captain and England captain. He's phenomenal. They wanted a defensive midfielder without a shadow of doubt, and they trained him and they coached him to play in that role. And then Ange comes in, it's like, right, this is what you need to do for me. And people were like, he's not good enough. It's not that he's not good enough. It's that he doesn't suit this system now. He has been coached in such a way for 4 seasons, which are really his informative years, if you like, when you're moulding a player. A bit Jose, a bit the other guy, a bit Conte, and now Andrew just so polar opposite to that. Polar opposite.
Yeah, Skip's kind of dream position. If you remember under Pochettino, Eric Dyer playing that defensive midfielder, kind of covering the fullbacks. And then Wanyama, that is Oliver Skipp.
Yeah,
that is him. The fullbacks go forward, he drops into that position.
Yeah.
An attack comes through the middle, he's going to be sliding in and getting the ball back and playing it forward. And just that is what he does.
Yeah.
Ange Ball doesn't have one of those.
It certainly doesn't appear to, no.
Ange Ball has a inverted kind of defensive midfielder, as in he has someone there that's there to kind of break the lines and break up play.
Yeah.
But everything else is focused on getting that ball up the field.
Yeah, see,
That's not Skippy's kind of. That's not his game.
No.
He sits there and breaks up the play and, challenges for the ball. He doesn't play the kind of up-fronty kind of stuff that he wants, and wants our fullbacks up in the penalty box.
Yep.
That's the mentality. But like you said, Jose, the other bloke, and Conte, they have moulded this guy into a fantastic holding midfielder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's always been very good in that role, but it's just like I said, for me, it feels like the club, through constant chopping and changes, have failed him, failed a kind of crop that was there. But we need to get back to, like, if we want to genuinely create players from our academy, which we have to. Like, if you look at the club trained aspect, like our European squad this year is going to have to be smaller because we do not have enough club trained players in our first 11. The only ones we have now are Austin and Whiteman, the goalkeepers, who, to be blunt to both of them, are probably still at the club simply for that reason.
To tick that box. I mean, that to me, that screams like mismanagement at the top.
It is mismanagement.
To get into Europe is something that we should be doing every season, challenging for Europe.
Yeah.
Europa League should be an absolute minimum for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
We should be challenging Champions League places. I want to say we should be challenging for the title, but I still think we're a little bit off that.
A little bit.
But we should be Champions League. Challenging for that. So to do that, we know that European football has certain regulations and criteria that your squad has to meet.
Yeah.
And yet somehow, we're going to go into this, instead of having a 25-man squad, probably having like a 21, 22-man squad.
23. You basically lose a place for what's missing.
Yeah.
And you should have 4, so we're going to have a 23-man squad.
It's just insanity.
It's aggravating. And also, it's mismanagement. So the Skip thing, not happy about it, but in the cold light of day, I'm pleased for him, and I hope he does well and shuts a few people up.
I do. I hope he has a fantastic career.
Tom Perk says, with Everton at home, Newcastle away, and Arsenal at home, our next 3 games, how many points do you think we're getting, and who will be the star performer? I think we're getting 6 points from these 3 games, but I'm not telling you which games. And I think our star performer across the 3 games is going to be Son. And there you go.
Okay.
How many points do you think we're getting from those next 3 games?
I think 4.
Pussy. Right. Ryan Miller says, how did you think our new players performed against Leicester? Bergvall looked good with his small cameo, apart from when Vicario went mental at him. Now, that opens up a fun debate.
Yes.
I'm going to circle back to Ryan. Corey Birchfield says, obviously we had a good amount of new players come in this season. Do you blame the draw on a breaking-in period for everyone getting on the same page? There was massive rotations during the pre-season which could hurt on-field chemistry. Do you think we could see the same lineup minus Bentancur? Hopefully he recovers quickly. I think he could, but I also could see at least one other change for Everton. The Bentancur injury was sickening. Anyone who's listened to this show a long time knows I played rugby, and concussions when I played were kind of ignored, and I have a real kind of passion for pointing out to people that they're really serious. Like really, really serious, and I'm glad that most sports appear to now be taking it seriously.
Yes.
When I saw him land without putting his hands out to stop himself or anything, he was out already. I felt ill.
That's the worry. When you see him land like that, you just have to easily go, "Oh crap!" Okay.
It just made me feel ill. Any player, any side, it doesn't matter. It just made me feel ill.
Don't want to see it. No.
So I was pleased to see when he was sat up. I was pleased to see he was able to move himself to get onto the stretcher. Obviously, the oxygen, etc. That's all stuff they need to do. The pleasing update is that he is cognitive. He is doing okay. He is training. I personally wouldn't imagine he's going to start against Everton. I mean, I don't think he should, but I'm not the medical team, so I have to trust that I watched that documentary and I saw them argue with Jose over players' fitness and stuff. I'd have to believe
Yes.
in my heart that they would not allow him to play if they had any doubt. So I'm going to trust them on that.
Yeah.
When it comes to cohesion and things, I think you're kind of nailing it. I think there was an element of pre-season, like you said, like it was you play one half, you play the next, and it felt like a few of the players went all in for 45 minutes and then went, oh, what's this more for? Jeez, what's this second half business about?
Yeah. I don't do this.
Yeah. Surely the young kids come on at this point. And I think when they came on, they did inject energy, but we just it will come. You know, unfortunately, the Premier League gives you no easy kind of get out. There is no easy game in this league, and I know that sounds cliche, but it's so true, and it's why the world loves the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, going back to Ryan, I thought the cameos from the younger players were all fine. I don't think anyone did anything amazing. I don't think anyone did anything bad. I would say that Bergvall was the type of player who is going to get on the ball, and unfortunately, England is very, very different to where he's been before, and I think he is going to get caught out. But I think we, as a fan base, need to kind of accept it because we want him to be brave. We want him to do it.
Yeah.
Now, there's a debate around this where Vicario went mental at him. And you and Dan both called Vicario out for this in our chat.
Yes.
And I disagree with you. Now, the reason why I disagree, if you just allow me to point this out to you, is I want my goalkeeper telling people and pointing shit out, and I want him to be vocal. I want him to be commanding. I don't think I don't think Bergvall is suddenly, after getting a bollocking in his first game, going to go, oh my God, I can't play football anymore. If he's that weak mentally, then Jesus, have we messed up signing him?
Yes.
There was this thing about, he wouldn't have done that to Romero or whatever. I've seen him do it to Romero. I've seen him do it to Van de Ven. I've seen him do it to everybody in our team before. If people are
he
saying...
doesn't hold back. Yeah.
No, he doesn't, and he shouldn't. Like, I don't know whether it's an age thing, but like the best goalkeeper I watched in the Premier League as I was watching in my informative years was Schmeichel. And you only got to listen to like Gary Neville and people like that talk about like, oh, I made a mistake once and he
didn't do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point. Like Bergvall will think to himself the next time he's going back in that position, do you know what? I'm going to put that in the rosette, or do you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that because he was right. They nearly scored, and like I'm in England now. Like, whereas I might have been able to dribble away this, or like in pre-season when I did it and I lost it, no one really give a shit. Now it's important. Like you got to talk about
points on the line. Yeah,
well, you got to also think about where it was in the game. Like the momentum had shifted. Like they were pushing to win the game. Their home fans were up. It's in those situations you need to manage the game better and not give them opportunities to take the ball off you. So, look, I want to see Bergvall playing that way, just maybe a little bit further forward.
Not so close to our box.
Yeah, but like I said, I got no issue with the goalkeeper tearing him a new asshole because I've seen him do it to everyone. If I only ever saw him do it to him or to other academy players, I'd question his balls because clearly he's not doing it, but I've seen him rip everyone apart, so I don't see a problem with it.
No, fair enough.
You did.
My issue was he had to go straight at Bergvall.
Yeah.
But having watched it, not one person presented themselves for a pass.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, in experience, he will learn. Oh, shit, no one's looking for a pass. Right, I'm kicking it out. I have a throw in. Let us reset. Instead of the kind of trying to keep the ball. He then does lose the ball, and like you say, it does create a good opportunity for them. Yeah. I was kind of frustrated more at the fact that no one showed for him. Well, no one kind of got themselves in the space. No one kind of gave him an option.
Well, Vicario's not going to do that in an instant, though. You're talking about a split second passionate moment. He's just had to stop us from conceding a goal. He's going to jump up and bollock the player for not putting it away. He's not going to go.
Kick the ball out.
Yeah, he's not going to jump up and go, "Where were all of you not presenting for a pass? You over there and you over there." He's going to go, "Fucking put the ball out, you little prick." And that's,
I mean, the first
that's
option
an
would be a lot
instant.
more amusing to watch. But yeah, no, I understand.
But it's a, you know, we're looking at it cold. We're looking at it from a kind of like,
when you put the emotion, and everything else into it,
and in the moment,
kick
like,
the ball out.
but now the analysts, like when they sit down and look at this video, they're going to go, right, where were you? Where were you? Why weren't you there for him? Why were you ball watching? And that's how, as a team, we learn. Like, because the players are probably going to go, because he should have kicked it out. Like, you know.
Yeah, there's Romero stood there going, "No, of course I didn't move to the pass."
Yeah, I
thought it was
friggin' obvious what he was going to do, but he didn't do it. So then we were like, oh shit. So there is an element of learning as well. Like, they've never played with him before. Like, you just talked about pre-season, this back four. The back four haven't played with Bergvall. I think they've maybe had 10 minutes, if that, and only a couple of them. So they possibly were just like, oh, young kid, he'll kick it off. Shit. No, he didn't. You know? So
what's he doing?
Yeah, so there's a lot to learn there, and I don't have a problem with in the moment. I don't think those players have got an issue with each other. I think when the game's said and done, I think Vicario puts his arm around him and goes, "Oh, kid, you know, next time Rosed, something like that," and he'll go, "Yeah, I know." It's not. I don't see it as a problem. Like I said, if you saw a pattern of like he's only shouting at the young kids, then I'd go like, "Hang on a minute." But like you go back over last season, you can find an example of him tearing into everybody. So that's what a goalkeeper should be, in my opinion. Okay, so the next thing that a lot of people sort of asked about is to do with transfers. There isn't really a massive amount of information out there right now. We all summer transfer window, the whole things have been about, we've been wanting a high energy combative midfielder, central midfielder.
Yep.
Now the club appear to be saying, because of how well Gray and Bergvall have played, they're no longer looking for that.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. If we've brought in two players who are young with high potential that are playing well enough that the club have said, we don't need to go spend £50 million on a player because we have them here.
Because we've already spent it twice. I'm in two minds on this, and again, this is where we come down to the kind of Enoch thing in the club management. Do Gray and Bergvall start in our team? Possibly not. I mean, the first team selection, neither of them started. So neither of them have been signed with a kind of, this kid is so good, he improves our first 11. Both have been signed with, these kids are both good, with incredible potential. Like, both of them have incredible potential. So we're signing them now, hoping they realise this incredible potential, and then in a couple of years' time, look at what we got. Now, that is good squad management. That is good planning going forward, because Bentancur will move on, or, you know, retire, whatever. So you've got to have this continuity. Like Sarr, Bergvall, and Gray could be a three midfield for a good number of years.
Oh,
so from that point of view, I'm all in. I think that's incredible. It's brilliant. I also listened to Ange Postecoglou last season, and I watch all of the press releases from the club where they say our goal is to win things. That is what they say. Ange said last season, I'm not in this to compete for a top four spot. I'm not in this to do this. I'm in this to win. Like, I would feel like I'm failing if we are not challenging for the title. His words, not mine.
Yep.
Every Spurs fan's like, yeah, great. That's what we want to hear.
I like that.
Yeah, well, you know, it's that whole adage, you know, you fail aiming so ridiculously high that, you know, it's the adage about, you know, even your failure then has an echo of glory because you were aiming so high.
Yes.
But What does our transfer window say? Does our transfer window say to you, challenge for the title?
No.
No, it's not. And this is where we get the problem, and this is why there's hostility, and this is where it's like, you're dating someone and they say, "Oh, I love you so much, you're the best person in the world," and then they ignore you for a month. It's like, well, hang on a minute. You say these lovely things to me when I speak to you, but then you just ignore me. It's like your actions aren't matching your words. And Tottenham's actions are not matching the words. If in this window they signed a spine, like it was initially we were linked with, okay, we were looking for another left-footed central defender. We saw 2 in the Premier League who were homegrown go for free transfers this summer.
Yeah.
We never moved for either of them. One went to Chelsea, one went to Newcastle, and now we've just basically moved Davies to that. Ben Davies, very reliable, very good player, but it's like, okay, all right. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we looked at that and went, our funds should be used elsewhere. Okay, fine. I'm with you on that. Okay.
It's difficult to say funds should be used elsewhere when they both went on free transfers. 2 people that should be challenging us in the title, the league this season.
Yeah. So just
there's a frustration there.
Well, the funds isn't just transfer fees. Funds is wages, signing on fees, everything. Yeah. So you've still got a budget for everything. So okay. The other thing was everyone with eyes realised that we've got Udogie and Pedro Porro very good in this system, but the drop off from them was immense. So we identified, all of us, okay, we clearly need to add to those areas, because if we don't, we're going to have this massive drop off again, because we're going to have more games this season. We're adding Europe. Hopefully we do better in the Cup, so there are more games. We definitely need rotation options. Emerson Royale proved that he's a club man, but isn't good in this system as a fullback, so he needed to go, and he has. On the left-hand side, I don't think Davis really suited. I mean, of course he can cover in there, but I don't think he really suited Ange Ball as a left-back / number 10. It didn't really work for him. I think him covering as a left-sided central defender works better in our squad right now. So that means that we've got Udogie and Pedro Porro, and then fullback options are what? And Jed Spence had a very, very good pre-season and is now going to stay at the club. He did have a very good pre-season. He did work hard, and he did justify. And I think Ange is now giving him that opportunity. Okay, you're going to be involved. And it would appear from the outset that he is therefore going to be the rotation option for Pedro Porro. He's going to push him, and also he can provide cover on the left if needed, because he is proficient enough to do that. But
I think so.
So we've not spent there. So everyone with eyes could identify that was needed, but we've not spent there. Okay, so we go into midfield. We needed a line breaker. I know this sounds crazy. We need Dembele. We need Dembele in his prime. Take the ball off the defenders, bring it forward. We need someone like that. We need a high energy player. Ange talked about it a lot last season. That's somewhere we need to add. So the whole window, that's all we've heard. That's all we've heard, definitely. We've signed Gray. We've signed Bergval. Both of them are 18. Both of them are inexperienced, but have got real high potential ceilings and everything like that. Them being signed, plus a first-team player in that role in midfield, I'd feel very, very comfortable and very, very happy. Because we'd see those 18-year-olds come in and out, rotate, but the actual first 11 today, a player in his prime, would improve us without a shadow of a doubt. We've not spent there. So we are still the same players there. Now, we go up front. We've added Solanke. Fantastic. First game, he snapped that missed chances. Now, you can kind of, first game, maybe snatched at a few, like desperate to score, maybe, judgment's kind of off, and that can happen. Absolutely fine for me. Slate's clean. He goes against Everton. He gets a goal. Fantastic. Off he goes. And I think it's one of those. The longer it takes him to score, the more it's going to get in his head. So I'm really hoping he can score against Everton.
Yes. No, I agree. It's going to be one of those where you need your striker to score goals.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
You've only got to look at what happened last season with Richarlison.
Yeah.
He got a goal. He found form, and we're all kind of going, here we go. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
he then got the injuries. He then didn't pick the form back up, which is why Solanke played every game last season.
Yep. Why we signed him.
We just need him to hit that bit of form.
Yeah.
It's the old joke, isn't it? He needs to fall over and have a shot going off his arse, and for him to go, hey,
he'll be fine.
Open,
I'm hopeful, and he'll be fine. But just to finish my thought on this, we identified again the club like, okay, the way we play and everything, we want to add that striker, and we've added that. We also have let Brian Gill leave. Manor Solomon is leaving. Want to add a wide player, and we've added a guy from Burnley who seems very quick and everything, but just not a player I know anything about, so I can't speak to him at all.
That transfer came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere, but one thing...
Literally out of nowhere.
Yeah, like even the admin team at Tottenham weren't told.
Yeah.
Now, this suggests to me that there's certain people at Tottenham who are thinking that the admin team are leaking stuff, by the way. But anyway... what is interesting is the kind of data-driven transfer policy we have now, which is we are looking at identifying a wide player who can do certain things, and then you have a list, and you go, right, okay, we want that guy. Neto, we went for, got outbid. Then there was another guy we were looking at, and he went for money we weren't willing to pay for him. And then there's this guy. So when it was a case of we've tried here, now we just get this deal done. It is, like I said, it's like a data-driven thing, which is we've done that last season. You know, the analysis is all there. Van de Ven was our third choice central defender. Just so people are aware, he was our third choice for that role. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So do not look down on this as some kind of, oh, bloody hell, we just signed this guy from Britain. What the hell are we doing? A plucky French winger. Where's that gone wrong before? I get it. I completely get it. But
winger.
But do not write him off until, let's watch the kid play and let's see what happens.
I am very happy that if Pochettino, wrong one, Postecoglou has come in and said, these are the players I want. He has then spoken to those players.
Yeah.
And after talking to the players, after looking at all the data stuff, he has gone, that's the guy we sign. Then I am all on board of, that's the guy we sign. Have I ever heard of this winger that played for Burnley? No. Have I looked up his stats? Yes.
Yeah.
Have I seen he's scored 5 goals in the Premier League last season for a Burnley team that got pretty much dogged by everyone?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He still got 5 goals for them. As a winger, not bad. Okay.
And he's 19.
He's 19, I'm like, if that's the guy that we want, then we want him. Let's do it.
My point that I was trying to make with walking through the squad there is we've added one player to improve the first 11. And we all, as fans, were looking at 3 to 4.
Yes.
Adding that one player to improve the first 11 isn't challenging for the title mentality. That's just hope. Let's hope we can compete. Let's hope for top 4. So this is where the words don't match what we're seeing. And this is where there's frustration and anger. So that's just for me. Now, we do need to wrap the show up here because we've gone a little long. So I do just want to quickly mention Everton is our first home game of the season. What are your predictions?
I am going for a 3-1 win.
Yep.
They have got, I think Sean Dyche came out and said they've got 14 first-team players available. The rest are going to be made up of youth. They've got like a 4th choice right back playing, so I'm hoping Son is going to have an absolute field day against that kid. And I reckon 3-1 win. Okay,
I'm going crazy. I'm reckon we score 5. I don't know how many they get, but I'm. There's.
I think we have to accept we're always going to concede a goal. The way we play, it's always going to be like clean sheets aren't really going to be something we see much of.
See, this is the thing, is because you can see that, but it's not in the way we all think of it. Like, this isn't like the ye old Arsenal 1-0 to the Arsenal where they scored 1 and then just went, right, parking the bus. This isn't like the 2-0 to Chelsea where they go 2-0 up and just bring on Makaleli and go, there you go, that's the game.
Try and score your bastard.
Good luck with that. John Obi, McKellen, Makaleli are now just going to sit there. Good luck getting past them. And this isn't like that. But if we dominate possession, they ain't scoring. So
Pretty much.
dominate.
You can't score if you haven't got the ball.
Yeah, you know, you look at Man City. Man City are ridiculously open at times, but they also take their chances, and you cannot underestimate goals change games. Taking your chances destroys teams' morale. Like if Leicester went in 4-0 down, 3-0, 3-0 or 4-0 down, that's a completely different game. They come out the second half, damage limitations, and also
and we potentially win 6 or 7.
Yeah, a bit of pride, you know, play for a bit of pride, whereas we come out looking to dominate. Now, this is the ruthlessness, and this is what Pep Guardiola gets his teams to do, which Ange's trying to get us to do, which is be ruthless. You need to score, and if you aren't scoring, we need to keep going, because we can't sit back at 1-0. We can't sit back at 2-0. We should never sit back. This whole thing of, like, you hear him on the sidelines, if the guy sounds like he's lost his voice every game. Never stop, always forward. And we got to get that. If we don't get, like, you just got to get that, and if we do, we can really turn the side over. So I'm going balls out optimism of smashing Everton.
Nice.
And I hope I'm not wrong.
I hope you're not wrong. I really do, because that'd be a lovely weekend.
It would really cheer me up. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and this is something that's a little bit personal to the show and stuff. Now, lovely people at a company called BB Makes are sponsoring the show for this season. They're very kindly doing that, and it's enabling us to do basically keep the show going. It's free, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. It's really kind of them. We're really pleased with them, and we've been in discussions with them because they do personalised kind of all sorts of different things like gifts. But one of the main things they do is like around drinksware, and they've got these kind of like cup thing and these different types of things that I know are like really in right now. Like my daughter's eyeing up every single one of them, by the way.
Oh, the Stanley Cup design, aren't they?
God, no, but my daughter's just like, oh, I like that. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Get them to send you one of them for free, Dad. I was like, Jesus, look at you. Look at your life. By the way, I'm just going to say this as well. My daughter got her GCSE results yesterday.
She did.
She did incredibly well, and I just want to mention this to anyone out there whose kids, or if you're listening and you got your GCSE results, well done. Whatever you got, there's pressure teachers put on kids now at this age is insane. So whatever you got, well done. Remember, there's always paths forward, no matter what. Don't let anyone stress you out or make you feel anything other than, well done. So, right, that's the one side. Anyway, we've been talking to this company about different things, and they were saying, like, if you want to personalize some products to sell, we could do that. And we've never done that, like on this podcast. We've never done like merchandise or anything. A few people over the years have asked, like, could you do like a mug or something like that? And I thought, yeah, that could be funny. We are going to do something, but if we are going to do it, I don't want to do it just for my own vanity. I'm going to do it for charity. So I'm in discussions with them where we're going to create something unique that can be personalized for every individual who wants to buy one, and we're going to raise some money for Diabetes UK. Now, the reason why this is personal to the show, and I really hope he doesn't mind me doing this because I've not been able to get hold of him to talk about it. I hope he doesn't mind. Everyone remember Matt, who was on the show for practically all these episodes with me. Matt is not on the show now, and one of the major contributing factors in Matt's life sort of changing and becoming a little bit more hectic was his son collapsed whilst playing football. His son Seb, who's also been on this show, people would have heard his voice, a young lad, just collapsed one day after playing, was in hospital, and what they found is he's got a very aggressive, rare form of diabetes. And the young kid was devastated, thought he'd never be able to play football again, never be able to live his life normally. And it's a massive adjustment for a child, a young boy, to try and manage this. My personal hero, Gary Mabbott, called Seb after a small request was sent to him and had a conversation with him, explained, look, I played a professional football career, I did this, you can do it. And Seb, I'm delighted to say, is managing things. Of course, it's not easy. And it's been a horrible thing for Matt and his family. But he's doing well. And Matt, last time I spoke to him, he's doing great. But so it's a personal thing for me. It's a personal thing for the show. I think it's an opportunity for us to kind of do a little something. BB Makes as a company are kindly offering us this opportunity. So this is what we're going to do. If you're interested, can you let me know? Now, the reason why I'm saying this, if you're interested in this, the main reason why I'm saying this is because I don't like doing these things and saying to people like, hey, hand over your money. Everyone's struggling. Like, the whole world's in a weird place. I don't like doing that. It's like not me at all. But I want to do something, and I think this is an opportunity to do it. If you're interested, drop me an email. It's sam@spursnews.co.uk. And if enough people get in touch, then next week I'll talk about what we're doing, how we're going to do it, and obviously, how much or whatever. But we're going to do something, raise some money, and that's going to be our plan for this season. See how much money we can raise for young Seb and Diabetes UK. Does that all sound good?
Sounds good to me, buddy.
Okay, I am just going to finish the podcast by saying Steph has a really bad cold, and whilst I was talking to you then in my headphones, it sounded like he was knocking one out because of the heavy breathing. So he wasn't. He isn't excited by me in that way at all. He just so apologies if that comes across.
We know some people
I will try and edit it out. So if I'm talking about this now and you're like, I didn't hear him doing heavy breathing, then I've done a really good job. I don't think I can edit that. That was insane, man. You sounded so excited about me talking about charity. You are really charitable.
I am. I love a good charity. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. You've all been great. Not as great as me, but you have been. Someone messaged our Instagram and called me King, by the way.
They did.
That has not gone to my head at all, but from now on, please do call me the King.
I have changed your name on my phone.
Yes, you should, Sam the King. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's
the King. It's going to be Elvis.
Sam is, Oh, yeah, thank you very much. So that is our show. Good luck, everybody, for the game on Saturday. I say that. I'm like, it's going to be 5-0. And then I'm like, good luck, everyone.
Yeah.
I'll be doing the Facebook page update. So if you're watching the game and jumping on our Facebook page, remember it's me there. Be kind.
If it goes well, or it goes badly, you can tell.
Hey, if you want to have fun, right, everyone, for social media and just laugh at the way social media works, look at our Facebook page on game day. If we score a goal, look at how many likes, look at how many comments. If we concede a goal, do a little comparison. Seriously, it is insane. But anyway, we'll be back next week to discuss the Everton game and all the happenings in the mad world of Tottenham Hotspur, including the closure of the transfer window. Dun, dun, dun. Until then, everybody, you will take care.
And come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.